Hey guys, welcome to Massive Iron Live. It's Friday, December 17th, and mere seconds before I hopped on, I had to adjust my wedgie. It's just a little TMI here for Friday. It's bright. It's actually a sunny day in Ohio. Sorry. Looks like I have the light of the world on behind me. Sorry for that. Hope you guys are doing well. This is Massive Iron Live. I'm on every Friday at 11 Eastern. If you're new here, please post up your questions. There are no dumb questions, just really stupid questions. So anyway, if you're new here, please post up your questions. If you're watching, let me know where you're from. YouTube looks like it's a little bit slow to notify people today, so I'm going to babble on for a little bit. Just a couple housekeeping notes. If your question doesn't go through, it's not me ignoring you. It's not me throttling you. It's not me putting you in a timeout. It's just YouTube sucking balls. So you can head over to Instagram, DM me during the show, and a lot of times I'll get notifications if your question isn't going through. I almost choked. If your question isn't going through, try shortening it or stop, maybe rephrasing it a little bit. So, man, YouTube is slow today. How's everybody going? Where's everybody from? Let me know how things are going. With this, I just read a news story about Omicron this morning, and it looks like they're trying to, I don't like to get into this stuff, but it looks like they're trying to scare the piss out of people, saying that it's vaccine resistant. Oh no, we better shut down everything again, right? Better shut down everything again. So just to let you guys know, all the free giveaways are done on Instagram. I had about, a 3-week run of giveaways. So I had quite a few giveaways and had a grand prize winner this weekend. Looks like YouTube is notifying no one. So we have no questions, no people on. Let me know where you guys are from. Post up a question now. Hopefully we'll actually be able to have a live video. YouTube is extremely frustrating because you run into problems like this over and over again where it just simply doesn't notify anybody. So let's get into things a little bit here. Of course, Stein is first. Hello and happy Friday. How's it going, Stein? I appreciate you joining in. Paul from Team Massive as well. What's up? Long time no hear. Everyone from Burke, New Mexico, wherever the heck that is. I have no idea. I'm even afraid to look on the map to see how small it is. Richard from Scotland. How's it going, Richard? Thanks for tuning in. Stein, are you using bands and chains in your training? Honestly, Stein, I really don't like bands at all. I've used them on squats. I don't find a couple things. I don't find the setup to be particularly enjoyable. I don't particularly like the feel under the bar. It has this awkward, wobbly feel to it. I mean, chains are unstable. Bands to me just not something I enjoy the feel of. I don't have bands yet for the home gym. That's one of the few things I don't have, but I don't have chains for the home gym. That's one of the few things I don't have, but it's something I'm looking at getting possibly next week because I'd like to get back into chain training. It's been a long, long time. I enjoyed training with chains. I got rid of them before I moved to Ohio. I got rid of them, sold them to a good friend, and I really haven't trained with chains. Good grief, I'm trying to think back, probably in 8 years or so. Denarius, in the last year or so, I've been getting pain in the right shoulder after bench. It lasts for weeks and never seems to go away. Any suggestions? Well, that sounds pretty serious because it's been prolonged. I don't know what the issue is, whether it's rotator cuff, whether it's some form of shoulder tendonitis, whether it's some some other issue, my main I have two suggestions, Zenarius. Number one would be go to a doctor and get that checked out, because it's been a year. And I know that's the generic recommendation, but you need to go see a doctor about that, because it's been a year and there's a good chance it's going to get worse. Second, I would get a bench press slingshot. A bench press slingshot will provide support for the shoulders. And a lot of people are hesitant to use one because they think it's somehow going to weaken them. All my years of training with a bench press slingshot, I found it actually helps with overload, helps with building my bench strength, my raw strength. So I would strongly consider that as far as the support goes. So before I get into the next question, guys, how's it going, Joe B? YouTube is a little bit slow to notify people that I'm here, so I appreciate you guys joining in. Do me a favor and post up a question, because YouTube is only notified like nobody right now, and I don't want to have to sit here for like 10 minutes with my thumb up my ass. So if you guys have any questions, post them up now. Desert Jackal, Stein is a robot. Stein is a robot. I was a little bit late today. I was trying to get caught up on client messages or get a fast start on client messages today. So I was late on notifying, or late setting up my live video. And I was curious to see if I was aggravating Stein, or if Stein was actually going to be first in because of the crazy time difference. Ruck Carlos, greetings from Poland. How's it going, Ruck? Hope you guys are having a good weekend. What are you guys up to this weekend? Doing anything fun? I just realized that today is the 17th. Next Friday would be the 24th, and the Friday after that would be the 31st. So I don't know if this is going to be the last live video of the month. I mean, we'll probably do a New Year's Eve video. Why wouldn't we? What the hell else we got to talk about, right? I don't know if I'm going to do a Christmas Eve video. Probably. We'll see. I might be traveling to see family. So, Desert Jackal, Western Colorado. Western. I know Denver's right about in the center. Not sure what's over west. Rico, what's going on, Rico? And Stein, 2 dice 2. Stein's rolling, playing Dungeons and Dragons, maybe. Bob Miller, hello from Georgia. What's going on, Bob? And John McBean. Every time I see that, I read Macbeth. What's going on, John? Kriakos. Are there superior exercises than others? For example, since chin-ups stimulate the biceps more than butt. No. Maybe with an EMG, but that doesn't mean in the real world. Why shouldn't one just stick with chin-up variations for the biceps? There's no real superior exercises, because when it comes to hypertrophy, we have to look at the mechanisms that drive hypertrophy, and that's usually a group of exercises, not one exercise. You can't simply do one exercise because no exercise is the same for every individual. Because people have different limb lengths and leverages and injury histories and so on and so forth. The best for hypertrophy that we understand it is a group of exercises. Looking at EMGs and things like that, if you want to know what kind of a fight that'll get you into, go over to Dr. Mike's Instagram and see the battle between Dr. Mike and Paul Carter over dumbbell pullovers and lat engagement. There's no scientific way to say one exercise is superior from a hypertrophy standpoint for everyone. That doesn't exist. That's not a thing. There are good quality exercises that are proven to be good, but there's no one exercise that's going to be superior for everyone in all cases. When we look at hypertrophy, the best choice is to start with a reasonable group of exercises. And from there, based on personal experience, injury history, how things feel in the gym, we're going to adjust those exercises, adjust the rep ranges, adjust the variations to to form something that is good for us. I've talked a lot on this channel over the last 10 years about evolving your training based on needs, and that's what I'm talking about. Furthermore, when you look at a specific exercise like chin-ups, you will find we're dealing with different limb lengths and leverages. You look at pull-ups, for example, and you have some skinny guys who can just knock them out for days, and then probably 80% of folks who struggle to get more than 5. So if we were to call pull-ups a superior exercise, just looking at that information and looking at things from that standpoint, we'd find out that it's obviously not superior. It's a good exercise, but just because an exercise is a good exercise doesn't mean everybody should use it or it's good for everybody. And we never want to do just one exercise for hypertrophy. Yush, come one comment, go through. Your comment went through, Yush. Come on, comment, go through, for fuck's sake. If your comment doesn't go through, just post it on Instagram. Slide into my DMs on Instagram. Nigel, jumping in a few minutes late. Love the shirts. Just ordered 3 more. Thank you, guys. And I want to show you guys this. And it might seem like a commercial, but bear with me. It is what it is. First off, if you need coaching, I got 6 months and 12 months available. If you look at the Black Friday tab, there's installments on here. So if you want to get 8 months of coaching, that includes 2 free months. You can get in for only $120. Now, if you go over to the search, okay, I'm going to show you how to get cheap shirts. Next level. You search next level, you get the $4.99 shirt. Okay. $4.99. I'm going to keep it there. I actually lose money on this. I lose money on it. I don't jack up prices for shipping. I lose $1 or $2. I don't really care. I'm not trying to make money off t-shirts. It's just nice to have people support the channel. I'm trying to make that as inexpensive as possible. So if you search next level over on the website, you can find them cheap. All right, Casey, something happened there. Something broke down in the mechanisms. John McBean, I noticed the same thing on my live. I wonder how my questions never got clipped. Denarios, any suggestion for alternative exercises to bench? Not sure if you're trying to get away, Denarios, from bench press completely. Are you doing dumbbell bench? That would be the next question. Does dumbbell bench bother your bench the same, or bother your shoulders in the same way as bench? I would assume if bench is bothering your shoulders, dips might bother you as well. If not, one of the things I do for my clients is, a lot of my clients, is have them do supersets of dips and push-ups. You want to really have a controlled push-up. So that's one option. Things like pec deck, you want to look for exercises that have a wide progression window or progression opportunity. Pec deck is one of them. Machine chest press, plate-loaded chest press, things like that. Joe B. On a cut, if losing some strength like on bench, is it better to fight it at 4 reps or drop a few pounds? I would not, if you're on a cut, I wouldn't do anything that low rep. It's just not a good idea. Because let me pull up the 1 rep max calculator here and show you guys why I believe it's not a good idea. So hold on tight while I find this website. And excuse me if I can't speak, because it's freezing in my office. All right, here we go. Let me show you guys what we're looking at here. Joe B's talking about he's on a cut and he's doing like around 4 reps. So let's say your bench is 400, doesn't matter. The percentages are going to be the same. If your bench is 200 and you're doing it for 4 reps, your 1 rep max is about 218, okay? So 200 divided by 218. That's nearly 92% of your 1 rep max, Joe. That's nearly 92% of your 1 rep max. You should not be training with that degree of intensity on a cut, because your max is likely going to drop. So if your max drops to 208 during a month-long cut or 2-month-long cut, all of a sudden you're training at 95% during a cut. You're training at that level with reduced glycogen in your muscles and energy reserves, and you're just not human. So you're increasing the risk of injury. You're actually increasing the intensity. Really not a good idea. The best advice I have for you guys on a cut is try to work within reasonable rep ranges. Things that are probably no heavier than 82.5% of your 1 rep max. And don't worry about strength losses. That's, focus on your primary goal, which is a cut. Is it hard to take strength losses during a cut? Yeah. If you're training smart, will they come back? 99% of the time, unless you're truly near end limit strength. What do I mean by that? If you're benching 400, right, and you weigh like 200, super strong for your weight, and you go on a cut and lose 20 pounds, all right, that's probably a bad example because our guy is small already. Let's say, okay, you're benching 400 and you weigh like 240, right? And you want to get down to 200 to feel less like a fat ass. So in the process of losing 40 pounds, your bench goes from 400 to 350. Because you were so strong to begin with, it's probably going to take you a while to get back from 350 to 400. On the other hand, if you're 240 and you're benching 200 and you want to get down to 200 body weight, and your bench goes from, your bench drops 40 pounds because you weren't close to your end limit strength, because you weren't really close to, like about as strong as you'll ever get, there's a good chance your strength's going to come back. So just look at it that way, guys. Paul, Christmas shopping this weekend. Yay. I think I'm all done with my Christmas shopping. Ugh. I did most of it online. I went out last weekend with my wife to the mall, and good God, I was simply not up for that. It was packed. There was 8 million people. And, every store at the mall is like for women's clothes and women's clothing varieties and and purses and perfumes. And, there's like you're walking through the mall and you just want to see a store for men, like a beer store or a cigar store or, even like a store that sold men's shaving products or wallets or something like that. There's just like nothing for men at a mall. You got these clothing stores for young men, but I ain't going to wear any of that shit. I mean, you know what I mean. Casey, I'm 6'2", 180 and about 20% body fat. Using your diet protocols, would you suggest I stay 180 and lean out a bit more? Well, here's the thing, Casey. 6'2", 180 is pretty darn lean. I'm 5'10", and when I was at 160, I was pretty darn lean. Your issue right now isn't really fat. And I would guess, Casey, you have less fat than you think. It just looks like more fat because you probably don't have the muscle that you think. I would be hesitant, Casey, to stay that lean. I would probably creep your body weight up to 200 and then start doing bulking and cutting cycles. That's what I would do if that were me or if I were training you. I'm not telling you have to do that, but I'm probably guessing you're leaner than you think, and it just doesn't look like you're lean because you're lacking muscle. So we got two things going on. We got your base muscle and we got your base fat. So at 6'2", 180, you're not going to be carrying around a lot of fat. If you are, you really don't have a lot of muscle. You're underweight. You would be underweight, under muscled, so to speak. I would probably suggest, Casey, that you get up to at least 190, 195, 200, and then you start doing the bulking and cutting. We need to get some muscle on you. We need to get you stronger than you are now. We need probably a good solid year of packing on mass, at least 10 pounds of mass. It would dramatically change your physique. I would say get your physique up to 190, and maybe from there do bulking and cutting cycles. You know, I see this over and over again when guys that come to me that aren't overweight. They don't look how they want to look. And they think because of that they have like 20% body fat. Usually the issue is that they just don't have the muscle to make they don't have a lot of fat. It's just that because they don't have a lot of muscle, it makes the fat look worse. So the more muscle you have, the better you're going to look. Your body composition issue is a lack of muscle, not too much fat. Let's put it that way. Yeah, it was Peter Cart said Kyriakos. Are you secretly Kyriakos Grizzly? Yeah, that's a good question. One of the legends of the lifting world, Kyriakos Grizzly. Bill Monte, hello from DC. What's going on, Bill? Hope everything is getting closer to your goals as we close out 2021. It is, and you know what? I sold a guitar and some music equipment, and I did so I could buy $2,000 more in gym equipment for my home gym. This office, I'm actually going to kill it. I'm going to move everything out, and I'm going to move everything up to my upstairs office. So eventually I'll be doing Massive Iron Live from my upstairs office. I'm going to turn this into another part of the gym, so I have 3 rooms for my gym. And I was hoping I could show you guys the gym equipment that I am ordering. Let me see if I can actually log into my account here. Oh my goodness, I did. Let me pull up my order history. I just laid out like $2,500 on gym equipment, selling musical equipment for gym equipment. So yeah, let's see here. I'm getting a leg extension, a leg curl, one of the seated ones, where you're at a seated station. I have a leg extension, leg curl back here, but it's one where you lay down. It's just shit. I don't like it at all. So I'm upgrading that. I'm getting a plate loaded seated row, so you put your chest against the pad, and you got the seated row. I'm getting a T-bar station. I'm getting a seated triceps press down station. They call it a dip station. And what else am I getting? Plate loaded chest press, just for some extra chest stuff. And what else am I getting? One more thing. What else? Oh, back hyperextension. All right, Nigel, 4 days a week training, split compounds across 3 workouts. So 1 workout repeats each week. Okay, I got you. So basically 4 cycles: squat, row, bench, dead, pull up, overhead press. Thoughts? Looks good. Like, what I look for on Nigel is balance with the major body parts. So I see row, deadlift, pull up. You got a really good trifecta there for back, a really good base for back. Posterior chain movements. We have the squat and the deadlift. Wondering if you're doing anything for legs on the other, or any posterior work on the pull-ups overhead press day, like an RDL or maybe a leg press or something like that. Wondering what you have for overhead pressing. Do you have a dumbbell overhead press on maybe squat row day? And what else you're doing for chest. But overall, there's nothing wrong with that structure at all. Looks fine. So basically, you're doing squat day, then deadlift day, then pull-up day, or pull-up overhead press day, and then you're going to repeat the cycle. The only thing I don't want you to do is probably not squat and deadlift on back-to-back days. So it's probably a good idea to take off a day of rest in between those 2 workouts. Paul, I just ate the best omelette jalapenos, tomatoes, mushrooms, and cheese. 3 eggs. Yum. Sounds good to me. Paul, you're in New Mexico. Where's the green chili? You're letting the state of New Mexico down. Funny story. I'm from Wisconsin, which is way up here for those of you guys not in the States. And whoops, New Mexico is down here, right? So I went to college in New Mexico, and I came back on Christmas break, and I tried to deposit my check because I worked in the library at the school, and the bank teller is like, "You go to college in Mexico?" I'm like, no, I don't go to college in Mexico. New Mexico. You go to college in Mexico? I'm like, New Mexico. It's a state. Obviously, she flunked geography. Rico, after your essential pressing exercise videos, what's your essential lower body exercises? Very good question. If I had to have essentials, one would be the squat, one would be the leg press, and one would be the hack squat. So I'd like those 3 in at least for legs. Now, deadlifts, I'm not going to call a lower body exercise because it's more of a hinge, hip hinge, and it's more of a back exercise. So I would probably add RDLs, leg extensions, and leg curls, maybe lunges. I really have a hard time once I get beyond leg press, hacks, and leg press, hacks, and squats, because really with legs, like I have no problem telling most people they need to bench and dumbbell bench. My time in coaching, though, some people don't need to squat. It's just, it might sound controversial, or like I'm, doing the spews for views things, stirring up nonsense. But some people really, don't need to squat. They don't get a lot out of it. But legs are a little bit harder. You have exercises like squats and leg press and hack squats and lunges, leg extensions, leg curls, glute ham raises, RDLs, so many, it's harder for me to say there's essential. I would say there's a bigger pool that I pull from, Rico, if that makes sense. Stein, why are exercises like pull-ups and pull-downs harder to progress than rowing exercises? Well, I would say, Stein, with pull-downs, and I have always found over the years with pull-downs that you reach a saturation point on a machine where you're like progressing, and then you're done. Like I will hit a point on lat pull-down machines where I'm done for like a year. They're like, it's just I think a lot of it has to do, and this is my opinion, I'd like to know your guys' opinion. On pull-down machines, I think the leverages and the weights and everything, just the way they're set up, kind of make it easy for the average individual to progress up, but then to hit a wall, like hit a hard wall, like a really hard wall where it's hard to add a rep. And I've had periods of time on pull-up machines where I'm just not adding weight for a long, long time. And I'm asking myself, what's the point? Like on a seated cable row machine, I'm usually able to continue to add weight until I get to the whole stack. Now, one thing I will say, though, is on the plate-loaded lat pull-down that I have here, I feel progression is smoother. I feel like it's a normal exercise. Like I can keep adding weight slowly over time and get pretty strong on it. Whereas gym lat pull-downs, I always feel like on these machines, you get like you're doing well. You start with 120 and then you progress. You hit your progression indicator. You work up to 130 the next week. You progress. You hit your progression indicator. And then you hit 140 and you're like, bam. And then you're at like 140 for like a year. That's the way it always feels for me. With pull-ups, if we are just moving beyond the realm of those that are a little bit overweight and struggling to do pull-ups, or those guys with really bad leverages, pull-ups are like a flywheel. They're hard to get moving. They're like if you look at bench for an intermediate lifter, let's say you get your bench up to 225 by 5. At that point, adding a rep a month is a good thing. You're going to add about 60 pounds onto your bench. So that's after like 2, 3, 4 years of training, right? You're starting to get into that grind stage on your bench. Whereas on pull-ups, it almost feels like you start with the grind stage immediately unless you're really gifted at them. Like adding 1 rep a month is kind of like the norm. It's kind of like a good goal. What I like to tell people, though, on pull-ups is I like to focus them on trying to add 1 rep a month for 2 to 3 years. It's tedious. It's a grind AF, right? But that's the way it's got to be with most people on pull-ups. It's just that kind of an exercise. It's very unique in that way. All right, let me get a drink. Purple. And a backup. All right. Bill. Big hair regular dude slamming my pull-ups propaganda. Of course, a reasonable variety wins behind your favorites to goes. Slamming my pull-up propaganda. What did I do, Bill? What did I do? I got lost there for a second, Bill, and don't know if I did something wrong. Invisible. Started doing dumbbell rows explosively like you suggest. After finishing one set, I feel my lats way more than trying to focus on mine. That's good. Now, I want you guys to understand we're not advocating reckless reps. When I row, I focus on driving my shoulder and elbow back at the same time. Imagine there's somebody behind you and you're going to do an elbow strike, right? If you do that, you can really feel keep your elbow at your side, like at a 45-degree angle. You can feel your back. Paul Velasquez, do you have standard shipping available? Shipping on my, I think you guys can choose. It's been a while since when I order on my own site, and I order shirts, and when I put books up, I order the products to make sure, everything looks good. Let's go over to the next level. Okay. Next level. And we got the t-shirt for $4.99. We'll add an extra schmedium in there, right? To the cart, extra schmedium. Let's see, view cart and checkout. This is all through Shopify, so it is about as secure as you can get. And you got express checkouts, Amazon Pay, PayPal, Google Pay, credit card, whatever you want. And it's got to collect the old taxarooskies. Let's just make up a name here. Buck Dimwit. And let's see, I don't know. Buck Dimwit. 132 Shittsville Lane. Okay, here we go. We'll just make up something. We don't really care. So we're just going to take a look at the shipping. It didn't like me. 120. It didn't like Shittsville Lane. Let's try it again. Okay, it's Sardinia. Oh, somebody's busting up in here. What are you guys doing? We got visitors. I don't know. Shit, it's got email and all that kind of happy horse shit. Shipping you can calculate at the next step. So I got basically every type of shipping available.
They're being naughty. Wrestling.
Oh, okay. All right. Ooh. This is my buddy pal. And that's Bubba.
Big Bubba?
Bubba's a big tank. And this is Snoops. Right, Mr. Snoops? Mr. Snoops.
Bubba's not. He's just a big long sausage.
So Snoops
He's
like
a very big sausage.
Yeah, what's up, Snoops?
You just have to cuddle him like this.
Yeah. All right. But to answer your question, Paul, basic shipping super cheap. I don't know, like $4.99. You can get next day if you want, but these shirts drop ship. We have drop shippers in we have facilities in Australia and Canada. So if you order a T-shirt, it's actually printed in Australia and Canada, and it's sent to you. I've had folks in the UK get their shirts within a week. So, what's up, Snoopy Doops? Snoop sleeps by me every night. Yes, he does.
I have Big Bubba.
Yeah, Snoops crawls under the covers. All right, guys, back to the grind.
Say bye.
Whoa, he tried to jump off.
Come on, boys. Yeah.
Bust and Nuts.
Come on.
His name is Bust and Nuts.
Who?
You want to come tell him that it's inappropriate to name yourself Bust and Nuts?
It's very inappropriate.
Very
Call yourself
inappropriate.
Bust and nuts.
Go to the shame corner.
I'd say it. Bust and nuts.
All right, I was doing deadlift variations and squat variations, and I'm getting great results. Do I need leg isolations to maximize my progress? He ran up. No, but you do need quad strength. So, like, one of the main issues with strength, I was reading, you guys know about Paul Carter or Pete Rubish. I was reading a story this morning on Paul Carter's website about how he helped Pete Rubish bring up his bench. And this is 2013. I was there at Pete Rubish's meet, the culmination basically of this process. And okay, I got to get to work. Get out of here, Snoops. Basically at the culmination of this process. So one thing he talked about was having weak, Pete Rubish had weak shoulders, and all kinds of things. So one of the things that got me thinking about is how many lifters have weak backs and weak shoulders and weak quads. So what I want you to think about, busting nuts, is getting everything as strong as you can, like quads and back. You definitely want to get your quads as strong, and you want to do it on more than just squat variations. So how you do that's up to you. Do you need an isolation exercise like a lunge or a Bulgarian split squat or a leg extension? No. But I would like you to get in some volume on hacks or leg presses or things like that. John, nice shirt. Thank you, John. Paul said you tried to order, but only on high priority. Paul, I'm pretty sure the standard shipping is just super dirt cheap ground. So not sure what is going on there. Denarius, thanks for your time. You bet. Paul, you can just message me on Team Massive and we'll get it figured out. Desert Jackal, not sure if I remember correctly. You said minimum of 8,000 steps a day. Generally 7,500. Usually if you're at 5,000 steps or under a day, it's not the greatest for health. We're not even talking about cardio here. We're just talking about general movement, walking, just basic walking. So 7,500 is a good guideline. If you're at 3,000, you really need to get your ass moving. 5,000 is kind of like, got to get moving. 7,500 can seem like a lot to folks that sit all day long, and it certainly is. But it's a good goal. And if you have to add cardio in or walking or whatever to get there, or steps or Stairmaster or whatever, it's a really good idea for just general health. We're not talking about lifting, and we're not even talking about building fitness. If you look at some of the research on how unhealthy it is just to sit, it's a good idea to get in your steps. So 7,500 is a good goal, a good average. And if you can't get that in, during the week, I get it. My job, I'm stapled to a chair a lot. That's why I like to go out on the weekends and get in more steps on a Saturday and Sunday. Elias, what's the optimal number of training years to reach a 315 bench for average lifters? There's The average lifter won't get to 315. So let's toss out the word average. The average lifter will probably get to 225. The average lifter that's consistent. To get to 315, if you are doing things correctly and training hard, if I was training somebody, I'd like to see him get there within 2 to 2.5 years. That's about where I got to 315. And that would be what my hope would be if I was training somebody. But honestly, you'll have a lot of guys who are like 315 in 2.5 years. Well, listen, everything, the stars have to align. Your training needs to be appropriate. Your consistency needs to be there. Your nutrition needs to be there. You can't be hovering at the same weight. You need to be going up slowly in weight. If everything is in order, your strength should be going up. There are a lot of guys who are going to think that's ridiculous, but I'm going to tell you, if you comb through their information, you're going to find they're not consistent with training. They're not consistent with effort. They're not consistent with nutrition. They don't have a well-rounded program. All the fundamentals aren't in place. And this isn't a criticism. This is why on this channel, I beat the drum for all the major pillars. All right, guys, we are about 40 minutes in. We're going to keep rolling as long as you guys have questions. I appreciate you joining me, the big, hairy, ugly dude. Just want to let you know, if you head over to superlivingtoday.com, coaching's available. I'd love to work with you. It's only $80 a month, 3-month minimum commitment. We talk on the phone. We talk every single day. I'm in the trenches with you. We set up a workout plan of attack, set up a calorie plan of attack. You can send me form videos every single day. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, and people tell me all the time, the price is way low, that I undervalue my coaching. I'm going to tell you I don't, because here's why. I do it for a living, right? I'm not one of these bullshit coaches that's going to give you cookie cutter crap and then just check in once a week. I'm going to give you something that's tailored to you. I'm going to give you workout adjustments like on the fly. We don't have to schedule bullshit weekly workout adjustments, right? I've had some clients with me for 4 years. We've gone through 10 iterations of their program. So head over to superlivingtoday.com and sign up. Let's make 2022 a good year. I like to help people. I want to help you. So sign up. Bill. Whoops. Sorry. Busting nuts. Almost missed that. How many exercises should I do in a workout? I usually getting tired after about 6. 6 is about the golden limit for me. If you look at 6 exercises at about 3 sets average, you're about 18 hard sets. I'm done. I don't really do any more than that. And really, I look at that and I look at time in gym. Anything more than like 70, 75 minutes, and mentally I start to cash out. So what I look at generally, if you think 6 exercises, 3 sets, that's 18 sets times 4 good workouts a week, basically 72 hard sets a week. 70 hard sets a week is pretty much optimal, in my opinion, in my training philosophy, to put together a well-rounded program that targets all the muscle groups you want to target. Bill, yeah, I have to remember on bench pressing in general that strength is going to come right back. That's correct. You just got to kind of get it out of your mind. Jacob, you have talked about problems with junk volume. Does that include volume for endurance? Training for, I will say this, Jacob. If you take the average trainee and you put them on a program I just talked about with busting nuts, where you're doing 70 hard sets a week, that's going to be a big step up for them. So they're going to be working on work capacity, intensity, and removing junk volume. And it's going to feel much more difficult than what they've done before. So their work capacity is going to improve, their endurance is going to improve, etc. Training for strength endurance, I would have to know the purpose. Why are you training? What type of strength endurance are you training for? because you get into the realm of a lot of repetitive movements and you're overworking movement patterns with resistance training. So I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm asking, why are you doing that? You know, what end are you trying to serve? You know, if you're trying to build up endurance from a strength standpoint, if it's not for a specific goal, I would not do that. Busting nuts. How do you fit cardio? And I would love to go for a 10K occasionally. Really, what it comes down to is doing 2 sessions during the week. You certainly can do more if you have time, but 2 sessions during the week of 20, 30, maybe even 40 minutes, and then 1 longer session on the weekend. That's kind of your run and gun time where you go as long as you can. So if you have the goal of, wanting to do a 10K on Saturday, I'd probably go out and run like an hour. And I think most of us can, Saturday or Sunday, most of us can squeeze that in, an hour on the weekends. Thoughts on neck training? Hate it. Just kidding. Good. Any plans to travel with this new stuff going on? I heard the media is good at giving us the fringe stories. I heard a story from the Netherlands where some guy was pulled off a flight and put in a COVID camp, and I don't know what the ins and outs of it. All I know is going overseas and risking getting flagged for COVID when you're trying to fly back and not being able to fly back, and then having to sit there for 2 weeks, and then potentially having your wife get it, and then having to sit there for a month. I'm not flying anywhere outside of the country till all this crap is done. This is, I'm not getting into the COVID stuff, but forget that. It's not worth it to me. And in the States, I'm driving. I don't like wearing a mask. I'd rather stay in my little world. And I'm not anti-mask, and I'm not anti-vaccine. I'm not anti-anything. I just don't want to wear a mask. So I just want to stay out of environments where I have to wear it. Pizzarello, how many kilos I can expect out on my bench in 1 year? I would have to know more information, like where you're at now, what your weight is, etc. Eric, hello from Indiana. What's going on, Eric? 3 days grace. Digital versus analog. Digital. There's too many really good digital scales in this day and age. But I will tell you guys something. When it comes to scales, unless you're looking at like when it comes to scales, the digitals can be really fickle. So if the ground's not completely flat and you're leaning more on one leg than the other, it can send your weight up and down a little bit. If there's a little bit of grit under one of the legs on the scale, it can send your weight up and down a little bit. I like for you guys to put it on a flat surface, a hard surface. Make sure it's a clean surface so you get the most accurate results. Ruck, how fast should one lose weight on a cut? As quickly as you can. What we know scientifically, Ruck, is that if you are training normally, it's very hard to lose weight on a cut. It'll become more and more. It's very hard to lose muscle on a cut. Lose weight. It's very hard to lose weight. Let me start over, Ruck. It's very hard to lose muscle on a cut unless you stop training. That's what we know from the science. So I know there's a big amount of paranoia. I'm going to lose muscle on a cut. You're really not going to lose muscle on a cut if you're training normally. And beyond that, you have diet fatigue. Get in, get it over with, get out. Get in, get it over with, get out. As quickly as you can, sanely and reasonably. And look, even if you lose a little bit of strength or a little bit of muscle during a cut, muscle memory is a real thing. It's gonna come back, and you're only losing 20 pounds. So in my time in coaching, I think the biggest concern I have with people is diet fatigue. There's very few people that can get in and just sustain weight loss. The lifestyle changes, the habit changes are just too difficult for most people. And then you have the stress triggers. The stress triggers go off and they go for food or pizza. So get it over with. Nigel, I use lunges, Bulgarian split squats, RDLs, just not as the mains. Hit something for legs each day. Sometimes I break out the extensions, curls. That sounds fair. That sounds pretty reasonable. Amanda P, I don't know if I'm getting anything out of squats with a good coach like myself. Like, honestly, what do I see when I see somebody not getting anything out of squats? I see an unnatural squat. That looks like they've watched every form video on the internet and their squat looks like a Franken squat. Looks really uncomfortable, non-natural, like a series, like they're trying to do a series of cues and movements, like it's like this structure, this checklist, this, and then it's very unnatural. So that's one thing, an unnatural squat. Super high squat with knees in, and some people, because of their limb lengths and leverages, and I have a client like this, everything's in place on paper, but it's still hard to hit depth. And this client's still getting something out of squats. But with a home gym, I wish this client had access to more leg alternatives. Let's put it that way. But honestly, Amanda, it's send me a video. Send me a video. I'll let you know. If it's something major, something minor. Pissarello are deficit deadlifts the best exercise for power off the floor? No, there's no best exercise. Everybody is different, so it's hard to toss around blanket statements like that. Off the floor power, you want to have a base of back and quad strength. Okay. I see far too many lifters who will obsess with halting deadlifts, deficit deadlifts, all these stiff leg deadlifts, but they have weak quads and a weak back. So you need those raw drivers. Somebody's going to be like, oh, come on, rows and deadlift off the floor. Look, I want you to think about something. At my strongest, I pendley rode 405 by 5. I dumbbell rode like 270 by 10. If I am able to one-arm dumbbell row 270 by 10 with just my arms, what do you think I'm going to be able to power off the floor in a full deadlift? Because that doesn't even involve the quads. If you can pendley row a lot of weight, explode it off the floor with your arms and back, what is that going to mean for your deadlift? You're not going to see somebody that can pendley row 275 for 10 have a 225-pound deadlift max, right? So we need to see the bigger picture here. You need to have a base Herculean strength on your rows, and you need to use VersaGrips or straps to get that strength up. You need to get your quads insanely strong. In my opinion, that's the best approach for powering off the floor on the deadlift. With those in place, you're probably going to have a pretty good deadlift, and from there we have to kind of look at some things. Programming. What can we do? What variations can we put in place? How should you program your deadlift, etc. A lot of times as well, Pissarello, people that are struggling with the deadlift off the floor, excuse me, either their shins are right on the bar when they deadlift, so they're putting too much weight forward over the bar, and when they pull, their hips come up and they lose leverage, and it's hard to get the bar off the floor. Or the bar is too far away from their shins, And when they pull, their hips come up, and the same thing happens. It's hard to get off the floor. So we kind of as well need to find that dead zero spot, that perfect spot for you as a deadlifter. Where should the bar be? Are your hips staying in place? And from there, we kind of figure things out. Angry Sid. Look at that avatar, Angry. That's classic. Could you explain the body composition analysis offered on the site? I just purchased a custom workout and did not add the analysis. Basically, with the analysis, people send pictures. So what I will do is do a mathematical analysis. I will say, I think your body fat percentage based off your pictures is this, and I'll get you within, 1 or 2%, somewhere close. From there, let's say you're 200 pounds and 30% body fat, 200 pounds, 20% body fat. I'm going to break down the numbers. I'm going to say your current weight is 200. You have 40 pounds of fat and 160 lean body mass. Your body fat percentage is about 20 pounds. To get to your best body, whatever that is based on your goals, let's say you need to get to 190 at 12%. So we're going to look at the math, how much fat you need to lose, how many exact pounds of fat, how many exact pounds of muscle you need to get to where you want to go. So I'm going to look at where your body fat is based on pictures. We're going to look at specific numbers, body fat percentage, pounds of fat, lean body mass, and then we're going to look at what you need to do, not just, hey, you need to lose 12 pounds of fat and gain 10 pounds of muscle. I'm also going to put together how to get there with bulking and cutting. Nigel, in Canada, the shirts give flat rate shipping. It's really peanuts. I've now ordered 6 of them. Yeah, I mean, I believe with my shipping, I work with a company called Printful. And when you guys place an order, it goes directly to their fulfillment centers and they print on demand. I believe they have a center in the UK, Canada, Australia, etc. So when you guys order a shirt, it's actually printed pretty close to where you're at and sent out. So the shipping should be super cheap. If you guys run into any issues on my store, just let me know. Bill Monte, pull-ups were a grind at 185 when I started, and then I got to 175. I slowly exploded as I kept cutting down to 152. Then it started grinding again once I got to like 45 pounds added to in the 160s. Yeah, there's going to be a grind, but that's pretty strong. There's kind of a point you get where, like, I'm not sure how many reps you're doing, Bill, but it's probably a good idea to do, more like 6 to 8 rep sets on your pull-ups with that type of weight. Get some volume in, and hopefully you'll see some creep up. Mike Mack, LOL. Sorry, Mike, not sure what that could have been busted nuts. Hard to say. Nicholas, for most people, is gaining muscle at maintenance calories very difficult? It's I hate this concept. Because it's like trying to run in quicksand. And Nicholas, I'm not busting on you, but I'm just being honest. I hate the concept. I hate it. It makes everything more difficult. You can't really gain muscle unless you're a noob at maintenance calories. It's like putting yourself in a hole. It's pointless. There are ways to do it intelligently, like my bulking and cutting system, etc. Where you're not going to get fat. But most people, let's be honest here, most people that are afraid of getting fat and putting on weight are generally underweight to begin with. And generally the problem isn't that they have too much fat, it's that they have too little muscle. And I don't know your situation, Nicholas, okay? I really don't. So I'm not bashing on you. But guys, that whole concept is just an absolute waste of time. Somebody's going to say, I did it, yeah. Okay, you gained a couple pounds of muscle, good. Was it optimal? You could have done better with a few more calories. Did nothing wrong, BHUD. Good. I wasn't sure if I was missing anything. GTREHHBK. Man, I just want to thank you. You helped me a lot. You're welcome, and I appreciate the opportunity. Mike Mack, my wife got dash on that looks nothing like a dash on. Was it one of those furry rug looking things? Thoughts on kratom or phenibut for sleep? For sleep, that's a very good question. Let's see, kratom. I'm no expert on that one. That's kind of a curveball. Where's examine.com? Examine.com, you're letting me down. I did a search to try to find you. I don't know. I would have to honestly look for phenibut and kratom for sleep, because when it comes to sleep supplements, I have not looked at those two in a while. I probably haven't looked at the latest research on either of them for a couple of years. Time flies by. I'm a beginner, and for squats, should I do higher volume or lower with heavy weight to increase strength? You want to work in a reasonable rep range, probably 6 to 10 reps per set, and you want to try to get stronger in those rep ranges. Don't go any lower. What I typically have people start at are straight sets, like 3 sets of 8, or what I call threes, where you start at about 80% of your 1 rep max, do max safe reps, drop weight maybe 5 to 10%, do max safe reps, drop weight 5 to 10%, do max safe reps. Wexer, can you make a video about switching workouts? Is it important? No, it's not important. On Wexer, I will show you something. We're going to go over to my channel, and I'll show you something. But no, it's not important at all. There's no need to change workouts. Workouts have the same exercises. It's not needed to build muscle optimally. You don't need to confuse the muscles. It's a waste of time. You're better off focusing on evolving your training based on needs. If you've ever looked at the programming of an advanced lifter, it's usually very specific. Dr. Mike had referenced this. I listened to a podcast where he said, you look at the exercises I do, don't use them as a template for what you should do, because I've been lifting for 10, 15, 20, or 30 years. And what I do is based on my personal experience. Changing from workout to workout to workout, you can do that if you need a mental change, but understand you're just changing the same exercises. So let me share the screen here, okay? If you go to my main page, Massive Iron, YouTube, there's a little search, and you search muscle confusion, okay? Let's see what we get. Confused about muscle confusion, muscle confusion, muscle confusion, muscle confusion. Do you need to switch exercises to confuse your muscles? How often do you need to switch workouts? Tons of stuff, okay? So there's probably at least an hour of good quality content on there that can help you work. So I would listen to those. Any thoughts on kratom? Not really. When I was in the studio a lot, it took me 2 years to record one of my albums. I recorded it with a gentleman by the name of Andrew Rodriguez, and he had a side business where he would sell kratom by mail, when he wasn't doing the music stuff. And I just never had an interest in it. It's not my forte, don't know enough about it. So I would really hesitate to comment. All right, guys, we're an hour in. Keep the questions coming. I'll stand as long as you have questions. Just want to remind you guys that I offer coaching. Head over to superlivingtoday.com. It's that time of year, and you're going to be looking at improving your results. Please give me a chance to help. I'd love to help. This is what I do for a living. It's only $80 a month, and you can save money actually if you stand longer. But there's only a 3-month commitment. Head over to superlivingtoday.com, click on the coaching tab, and sign up. If you need a workout, I have a workout tab over at superlivingtoday.com. Tons of great workout ideas. And if you want a sexy t-shirt, I have them available for only $4.99. Now that Alpha Destiny has started a podcast, will you appear as a guest? I didn't know he had a podcast. I did not know he had a podcast. I don't know if you guys go over there and pressure him. Where's his podcast? I didn't see anything about a podcast, so don't know. Is it on Spotify? Paul, thanks. You bet. Paul, thank you. And why do you prefer heavy rows instead of weighted chins? I don't prefer it. I've never said that at all. I do not prefer heavy rows instead of weighted chins. I prefer both. The only thing I don't like on weighted chins is when people do ego lifting. Like they're trying to do singles, doubles, or triples all the time instead of doing volume. I prefer heavy everything. Heavy rows, heavy chins, but I prefer them for volume. That's the magical path to size. 6 to 10 rep sets with a lot of volume and a lot of heavy ass weight and a lot of progression. Mercy Thompson. I'm not sure if you're coding or having a seizure. Ruck Carlos, should intermittent fasting or water fasting be used on a cut? It can be used. Should it be used? That depends on the individual. I will say this, Ruck. Far too many people struggle on a cut because they're like, I'm hungry, but they're eating every 2 to 3 hours during the day. If you want to reduce hunger, and hear what I'm about to say, stop eating so much during the day. Stop pressing that insulin button. Let your body kind of normalize a little bit. For most people, saving more calories for later in the day is a better option. Because far too many people snack, and they get to the end of the day and they're hungry and they already had a shit ton of calories. Save calories for the end of the day. If that means intermittent fasting or eating only 500 calories during the day or whatever, use it as a vehicle. But use whatever you can to lose weight. One of the keys in losing weight is to go a period of time without food, or to cut down on your food volume per meal. I would do both during the day. Restrict calories as much as possible before 5 p.m. Daniel Hendrickson, if I get stronger every month from high volume submaximal work, does this still mean I will grow muscles? Yes, that's how you grow muscles, Daniel. We don't do max work. We do reasonable rep ranges and progressive overload using a reasonable volume. If you don't train to failure, though, like training to failure is not a requirement. But pushing yourself for as many safe reps as possible. If you're not doing that, you're missing out on one of the primary cogs of hypertrophy. How do you know when it's time to add weight if you're not pushing yourself? One aspect of progressive overload is adding reps, hard reps. So this is a pillar of hypertrophy. Do you need to do it on every set? No. Most of my clients, I have them do it only on one set per exercise. But we don't train to failure. We train for as many quality reps as possible, stopping that set when we feel like we're going to fail on the next set or when our form is going to break down. So we practice safe sets. Does that make sense? All right, Josh, I'm finishing a 12-week cut. I want to lean up a little more. Should I take my maintenance phase for a couple months before finishing the cut? Josh, what I recommend is, and this is going to sound like steroid talk, but, like pulsing and cruising or the step method. I wouldn't have a defined amount of days you're going to be at maintenance. Number one, you don't want to go above maintenance. Here's where most people go astray on a cut. They'll cut hard, and then they'll need a break, and then they'll go above maintenance and lose ground. It's better to go hard, and then when you need a break, to go out and instead of going above maintenance for a day or two, Go at maintenance for a week or 2 weeks. You're getting in more food for 2 weeks without gaining weight. I wouldn't use a predefined time that you're at maintenance, but I would stay at maintenance level until you're ready to go into the cut again, if that makes sense. And first set of squats feel like RPE 10. I'll tell you, and every set of squats feels like RPE 10. I will tell you 100% after 35 years of training, every set of squats feels like my balls are being ripped off. They're hard, they're intense. But two things I've done over the years: never trained squats to failure. I've only missed 2 squats in non-competition over the years. And I also know that usually wherever I think I'm at in a squat, I could probably do 2 more reps because they're that hard. So I don't worry about RPE much on squats. Mike, where do we go on dumbbell rows when you're at the highest weight available in the gym? Usually to Meadows rows, and you want to do those with straps or Versa grips. Like you could do a 2-arm dumbbell row, but then you're going to have a lot of extra. It's going to be a lighter weight, and you are going to have more stress on your lower back. I would recommend a Meadows row 100%. All right. I hit 315 pounds on bench at 17 years old, 83 kilograms, 5'11", but my squat is lagging behind. Any tips for improving lower body strength? It sounds like you're very natural with your bench. Okay. So I wouldn't use your bench as a comparison for like my squat should be equal, because if that was the case, you probably should be squatting 400 right now. And I would just know that it's going to take you longer to get to a 400 squat. To improve your squat, I would not be working in low rep sets. I would be working on your overall quad strength. Those are really the foundations. So I'm not sure if you're training at a home gym, not sure if you're training at a commercial gym, but I would be working in rep ranges probably from 6 to 10, and I would be doing things other than squats. Get that quad strength up. Vinny P, stopping in a ride on that knowledge train. Vinny P is a client of mine, training like a beast. Thanks for tuning in, Vinny. Bill Monte, yeah, my pull-ups are slowly creeping up to 65 by 7. My best chin-up to date. That's pretty solid work. And I'd expect nothing less from Bill. How to progress on lateral 50s. And what I'd probably do is switch to bulldozer training. Bulldozer training, you're going to have 5 efforts. I call them mini sets. Start out with a weight you can do about 12 reps with. Knock out the reps, rest 20 seconds. Do it again, rest 20 seconds. Do it again, rest 20 seconds. Do it again, rest 20 seconds. Do it again. So you got 5 mini efforts with 20 seconds of rest in between. Add up the reps for all 5 of those mini sets. And then you can slowly try to improve by 1 rep each week. And on the top set, if you get more than 12 reps on your first set, then I would move up in weight. Red Wild Bear, is it necessary to do shoulder adduction movements for lats, vertical pulling with the elbows to the side? I just feel the lats better in progressive overload on tucked elbows. What you want to do on a vertical pull is find exercises that feel good for you, Red Wild Bear. There's nothing essential other than finding exercises that work well for you. As long as you're moving those elbows back to drive the weight instead of pulling, you're going to be fine. Wexer said, thank you. You're welcome. Bill, how often do you change rep ranges on heavy compounds to get strong in different zones? There are no zones. There's only one strength level. There's only one max. I don't worry about zones. Zones come and go, Bill. So if you're doing like my squat threes protocol where you're doing 82.5%, whatever it is, and then you're dropping weight 7.5% and dropping weight 7.5%, the rep ranges are always going to be moving around. 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you want to add stuff outside of that, like higher rep squats, you can if you like torture. I got some bench protocols that use high and low rep stuff, but I'm not changing rep ranges to, get in different zones, so to speak. What we're trying to do is kind of get those neuromuscular pathways up to speed. So rep range variety is good, but I usually do it exercise to exercise. Like what I mean is I'm not going to do a barbell row for 20 reps. It would probably kill my lower back. Some of that is exercise dependent, but some exercises you can do a wider range of reps. Some really are more difficult. Like bench, it's a little bit easier to do a 20 rep bench than it is a 20 rep squat. I wouldn't obsess about it, Bill. If you want to play around with it, you certainly can, but you don't really need to change anything. Are you going to pull out the Meowie sweater if you do live next week? You know what? I ordered a Christmas sweater, an ugly Christmas sweater. And the website I ordered it from accidentally put in North Carolina other than Ohio. So it went to somebody in North Carolina at my address. And I'm like, now I got to get a different one. Felix 79, happy Friday from Colorado, late to the party. Thanks for joining in, Felix. Angry Sid said, Zach, you're correct. You can get dependent on. I'm assuming that's Kratos. Or Kratom. Kratos. I was thinking of God of War. Arut, hey, gang. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Thanks for joining in. What's your favorite meal this week? Good question. Pizzas. Usually Marco's Pizza is my favorite meal. This week I've been pretty much on track. I'm heading in the new year, trying to knock off a few pounds, trying to get my running back up to speed for next year's season. So not really anything favorite. Just going with the bland food. Nicholas, anything special about Stan Efferding's vertical diet? I wouldn't say it's anything special. I mean, it's not bad. It's got a lot of good things in it. There are certain things I would change. One thing I'll say about dieting is it's usually the people that have the ability to eat the same things over and over again that are the most successful. I'm not saying you need to have the same meal every single day. Like I have 4 or 5 different dinner choices, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's like people that need food to entertain them usually are the ones that are going to struggle the most. Ruck, great advice as always. Thanks, Ruck. Mr. Buffalo, I lost 35 pounds since August. Nice work. The first I was well overweight and felt I could still go full body 5 days a week. Now I have 40 pounds left to lose. To just maintain is 2:30 minutes. To just maintain is 2 hours and 30 minutes a week enough for full body? Is that what you're saying? Or 2 30-minute workouts? I'm assuming you mean 2 30-minute workouts. It could be. I would probably do 2 sets for a few compounds and 1 set for choice assistance exercises, but I'd have to look at the program. All right, guys, we got about 5 questions left. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. I'm going to run through those. No, we got 6 questions left. Get your questions in now. If not, I'm going to jump ship after about an hour and 30 minutes. So I appreciate you guys joining me. But get your questions in now. Don't run away yet. I'll stay on as long as you guys have questions. Shiv, how much time should it take from 135 bench to 315? I get this question a lot. And if you're doing everything right, it probably shouldn't take more than 3 years. But doing everything right is almost more of a challenge than anything. Gaining weight, being consistent with your nutrition, getting everything in the human body as strong as humanly possible. My squat went from 40 to 106 months. Your programs are amazing. Thank you, sir. That's all your effort. I'm just putting down the road. You guys are following it. Shiv, how much time should it take? Okay, we already got that. Matt, I keep inching up, pushing for that +1 each week. Matt's doing the 10-minute deadlift block. And that I find is a system that is easier to add a rep in every week, because you're not adding a rep at the end of a long 5, 6, 7, 8 rep set. You're just kind of trying to squeeze one in. So I find adding a rep on that 10-minute protocol to be easier. Red Wild Bear. Differences in progressive overload approach for 2, 3, 4 sets per exercise. Not really any. You just need, basically the progressive overload approaches you're going to use for any of those are going to be the same. Maximizing the last set, doing the rep goal system where you're counting reps from each set, etc. I've heard that lower rep pair well with more sets. Well, you basically, if you're going to do lower reps, you can do more sets, but it's going to end up probably taking you longer in the gym. That's the negative, especially when you get strong. I have nothing against it per se. If you want to do a set, and I've done this type of stuff before, like I've done 8x5s on benches. If you want to do that stuff, great. You might have to juggle around your assistant's work to maybe only do 2 sets per exercise so you don't live in the gym, forever. So if you're doing like an 8x5 on bench, you might do 4 or 5 extra exercises after that, but maybe only, I'm just laying out some generic thoughts here, but maybe only 2 sets per exercise. So you're getting in some exercise variety and you're not living in the gym, for forever. And guys, that is it. That is the last question. We are an hour and 22 minutes in. I appreciate you guys joining me. I'm going to head off and do client work. And if you guys have any questions that I missed, head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. I'll respond. If you guys have any questions about how coaching works, head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman and fire me off a message. I do this for a living. This is what I love to do. I'm with people every single day, and I would appreciate the opportunity to help. So if you guys aren't interested in coaching, check out Team Massive. You can go over to superlivingtoday.com. There's a Team Massive tab, and for only $25 down payment or initial installment, you can get on Team Massive for life. You can go over there and ask for form help or workout help or whatever. And Jerry says, thank you. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys joining me. And I will probably, I don't know, I might be here next week on Christmas Eve, maybe not. My Santa outfit, I don't know. I may or may not. I may reschedule. It's got kind of a weird end of the week. But I just want to thank you guys either way for a good year, and I appreciate you guys' support. And we are out of here.